his voice as thin as a frayed rope. "I'm coming right." Charles rolled his shoulders slightly, wincing as familiar pain, though much reduced, arced across his shoulders. He'd received a rather nasty slice from cutlass during the capture of a French vessel, and the injury had taken far too long to heal. Charles didn't know how to tell Rich he'd received the all clear to head back to Britain. An anchor lodged in Charles's chest every time he considered leaving the dying Marine behind. After all, Rich had saved Charles's life, at the expense of his own. Charles had thought Rich would have passed on by now, and yet he lingered. Day after day his body fought to keep its tenuous grip on this world, retreating in protracted increments. Though he had fought valiantly, he would soon have to strike his colours and raise the white flag. Charles shooed away the incessantly buzzing flies and touched Rich lightly on the shoulder. When they had first been transported together to the hospital in Oporto, the Major had been hopeful. He'd taken a musket ball to the right side, and though in considerable pain, had remained cheerful and expectant of restoration to health. He'd maintained that hope, holding on to the thought of all he had to return home to in order to keep his spirits up. "Sophie?" Rich asked. "Of course." Following their well-worn routine, Charles opened the sea chest under the table beside the cot and withdrew a pocket of envelopes. "I'll read the latest." He unfolded the letter dated 2 weeks before. One nice thing about being on the beach, the mail arrived regularly. Charles received no mail, not having left anyone to write to him. When he had first gone to sea, his mother had penned a note twice a year, but when she passed away, his mail had stopped. Any news from home was welcome aboard ship, and it was common to hand letters around the officers' mess, or at least read aloud snippets of a less personal nature. Clearing his throat, he read to the Major. "Dearest Rich, summer has finally arrived in Oxfordshire. The gardens are a riotous glory of colour, so heartily greeted. After the drab and cold winter refused to take the hint, it had overstayed its welcome. Is it wrong that I love the informal gardens, bursting with flowers run amok, far more than the parterre garden at Haverly, with all the box hedges perfectly trimmed, and every sprout consigned to its well-planned sport? The more serendipitous garden at Primrose Cottage suits my temperament better, I think, allowed to roam and bloom and burst forth when and where it pleases. Mother would say it is my undisciplined ways leading me to embrace unruly flower gardens, but I prefer to think of the blossoms, in my ways, as adventurous rather than rebellious. Spending time in the informal garden speaks to my soul, and I find peace and inspiration there. After all, it is our special place, and I long for the day when we will wander its free-spirited paths once more. Our darling Mamie is well enough. She occasionally drifts into a sort of twilight of thought, where she appears to see memories from the past, with more clarity than her current surroundings. Then she's back, not realizing she's been gone. The physician assures me this is normal for an aging person, though perhaps on the early side for a woman of Mamie's years. He says I am not to worry. Have you noticed how often people tell you not to worry, even when there is something definitely worrisome occurring? Still, the doctor is a dear man, and he is so gentle and kind with Mamie. Mother is still not resigned to me fulfilling my promise to you of caring for Mamie where you are gone. She doesn't understand it is so much more than mere obligation. I truly love Mamie, and I am honoured you would put your dear mamma into my care until you return. Marcus and Charlotte have arrived from London to inhabit the manor for the summer. Charlotte is now in a delicate condition. Why can't we just say she's going to have a baby? Why must we be coy, with little side glances to invite people in on the secret we already know? So